Happy Sunday, St. Paul's, and welcome to Virtual Sunday School. Now, we are in our third week of Advent, and this week we are hearing the story from Isaiah. Now, in this story, the Israelites have returned to Jerusalem from their exile in Babylon, but they continue to face hardships and oppression. And the prophet Isaiah, moved by the Spirit of the Lord, announces deliverance for those who are oppressed and comfort for those who mourn. And through a beautiful, beautiful description of what it means to be alive in the Spirit, alive in God, Isaiah calls us to remember that our faith matters. It heals and it gives life. And so when we think about where we are in the season, we are still waiting and watching an Advent. And we're sustained by finding out more each week about who Jesus is. And in our story today, Isaiah, he poetically reminds us who Jesus is and why it is so important for Jesus to arrive. And there are people, and maybe it's even you and I, who are brokenhearted and lost, and they are getting restless in their despair. And Jesus is coming to help them and to bring us all a picture of how things can be. So I want you guys to find a comfy spot and let's hear our story today. Okay guys, I hope you found a comfy spot for our story time this week. Now our story comes from the book of Isaiah, chapter 61. And so it's called A Promise of Hope. So settle in and let's hear our story. Isaiah was one of God's prophets. While Isaiah was praying, God spoke to him. Isaiah, listen, God said. It is time to share good news with my chosen people, the people of Israel. Isaiah wanted to talk to God. He knelt on the ground and he held his hands out to God and said, how can this be time for good news, God? Your people are so tired. Many are homeless. Many are sad. Many are weak. I know, God whispered. I'm going to change that for all of my people. Isaiah closed his eyes tight and he listened closely and wondered, how would God change things? What was God's good news? I will comfort kids who are sad, God said. I will give strength to people who are weak. Men and women will fix broken walls. Everyone will be joyful again. You know what I love, God said to Isaiah? Justice. I want my people in Israel to have justice. They have been hurting and sad, and I will help them feel glad. I will bring fairness to my people. I'm making a brand new promise. Everyone who sees the people of Israel will know that I have blessed them. Not just the people in Israel now, but their kids and even their grandkids. Isaiah couldn't believe his ears. He could hardly wait to shout God's message and shout the good news. Okay, friends, I will see you in a moment. Hi, 5th and 6th grade. I hope you enjoyed your journaling time this week. Now, in our story today, I want you to think back to that. So, what kinds of things did the prophets in Isaiah proclaim? And who gave Isaiah and the prophets the authority to proclaim these things? Now, this text was written 500 years before Jesus was born. Why do you think Isaiah 61 is read during Advent? And what does this have to do with us getting ready for Jesus? And how might you respond to this text if you were a poor or oppressed person? And how would your response differ if you were someone in power? And how have these prophecies come true? Why or why not? I want you to think on that. Okay, 5th and 6th grade, welcome back for our Bible bit. Now, this section of Isaiah was written after God's people had returned from exile in Babylon and had begun to rebuilding the temple in Jerusalem. Well, St. Paul's, thank you for a wonderful, wonderful virtual Sunday school this week. I cannot believe that we are in the third week of Advent. I hope you enjoyed our drive-through nativity scene last week. I did. Leo did as well. He has a picture there. And I hope to see you on Christmas Eve in our outdoor service or virtually. But have a wonderful third week of Advent, and I hope you celebrate the joy that is what this weekend means.